Wait a second, 1.1.2 next week? Ladies, gentlemen, and Haradrim of all ages, it's been a busy couple of days for Diablo 4, specifically as far as updates and update information. The other night we got a hotfix that hit the servers that was actually bigger than you may realize if you hadn't seen it up until now. The drop rate of wrathful hearts from the random heart box is now 10%, up from 2%, so 5 times as likely as it was before, and the same for invokers, except going from the old 3% up to the new 15%, essentially just making it a lot easier to farm wrathful hearts through the actual intended methods of doing so, because maybe they didn't actually like how players were choosing to farm them before. And yeah, fair enough though, honestly, make other things feel better, and that's fine with me, even if you nerf the things that we're probably going to be calling exploits. On top of that, wrathful invokers have now just a drop chance from random elites too, which is actually a pretty major way to just passively collect them while doing other content, so this is a pretty big deal too. On top of this, they also fixed an issue with the trickery Malignant heart for rogue, and then the classic line of further stability improvements. Then we surprisingly had another bonus hotfix just last night. Nothing major here, just properly fixing the bug with temerity so that its barrier maximum amount is now based off of your maximum health instead of base health, which is a really big deal. It's a really big change in the way that the unique actually functioned. And then, you guessed it, further stability improvements once again. And you may now be thinking, okay, yeah, that's reasonably important changes. I guess we're probably done for the week now because that's a fair amount of things happening in the game. Well, you'd be wrong if you thought that, because last night Blizzard posted the patch notes for the brand new upcoming patch 1.1.2, which is coming out next week. So soon, so incredibly soon. But now we know what's coming up to the game in this upcoming update. The big main change here is something that I've been talking about for ages and asking for, and I'm not the only one either. They changed the amount of time for Malignant monster respawn after activating a heart to be 2 seconds instead of 5 seconds. Personally, I think they could make it literally happen instantly. Anything less than that is honestly questionable. There's no reason not to, but hey, 2 seconds is better than 5, so this should feel a fair bit better at least once this takes effect. On top of this, players are now automatically in the trade chat channel by default. After that, we had some stomping out of some of the more recent Nightmare Dungeon reset method exploits. They've simply stopped it from functioning, so anyone who was taking advantage of that, you will have to work out another way to actually progress in the future. Then we just have an absolute ton of bug fixes. One section literally being just Druid, which is funny to me. Then they fixed a few quest-based issues as well, some UI bugs as well, then just some miscellaneous bug fixes too. Wait, what was that in the UI bugs? Oh, no big deal. Just the fact that the Caged Heart of Talrasha for Sorcerer is an additive damage increase, not a multiplier, even though the tooltip said it was a multiplier until now. Oh, and same thing for Caged Heart of the Great Feast for Necromancer, by the way. No big deal though, right guys? It's perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, come on, both of these should be multipliers, let's be honest. Make hearts strong, make them overpowered, make them feel genuinely fun. That's it for those 2 updates though, and then the patch notes that we have for 1.1.2 coming up next week as well. Then we just have a string of tweets that I found a bit funny from Adam Fletcher, the global community development director of all things Diablo, and the context of this is that the statue of Lilith with the recorded first 1,000 players to hit level 100 in hardcore mode has been updated because there were a few players missed out of their original roundup. And with that happening, a number of people are coming out and saying, hey, what's going on? You released a new updated list and I'm still not on that. And the response to every one of them is, yes, I've seen your account. You did something unsavory of some kind within a previous Diablo game that resulted in disciplinary action against your account, so that has disqualified you from this list. Shame upon you. And it just got more short and more frank with every response like this that he had to send out, up to the point where he responds to one of these tweets by retweeting one of his own previous responses to someone else, and my god, the level of I'm tired of saying the same thing, it's just, it's so palpable, and it's genuinely hilarious to me. But yeah, I can't speak for what these players may have done to put their account in this state, but if it's something that's their fault, then this should be an expected result. If it's not, then that's on Blizzard. I don't really know, but it's as simple as that. I just found this chain of tweets amusing and wanted to share it with you. Then we have something pretty major going on in the community since patch 1.1.1 hit on Tuesday. It seems that many players are finding that legendary and unique drop rates are actually just sort of higher across the board. Like, yes, we know that they were adding guaranteed legendaries to bosses and stuff like that, but the amount of legendaries and uniques that are dropping since this patch hit has definitely felt a lot higher to me, and I've seen plenty of posts about similar feelings from other people, and usually when a large number of people feel like something is different, it probably is. That said, this is a totally good thing if that is the case, of course. I just don't know why they wouldn't tell us if that was happening. In any case, case though, I'm just happy it feels like this, even if that isn't actually what has happened. It could just be a result of the density increases combined with the guaranteed boss and treasure goblin legendary drops that is making everything just feel like it's having more drops drop in the game in general, but it doesn't really matter why it feels that way, it just matters that it feels this way. Because that type of good loot drop feeling frequently, that little rush of dopamine, is what keeps us hooked on this game, and what makes it feel properly fun. I mean, that is a lot of the fun, it's just getting a silly good item drop that you know is great for you, right? A unique that you haven't had before, so increasing the drop rate on these so it happens more often, you get upgrades, it feels good. And then one last thing, yes, this is generally just news for Diablo 4 specifically that we cover on here, but I still think it's worth spending a moment discussing the milestone that is more than likely the final season of Diablo 3 coming up real soon, with the patch for it being on the public test realm on August 15th. While Diablo 4 still has a lot to learn from Diablo 3, it clearly is using a lot of it as a sort of springboard to start off of, working off a number of the important ideas that game learned over time, most notably taking seasons, running with it as an actual focus right from the launch of the game, and then trying to make them feel actually meaningful aside from just the character resets, making you have actual reasons to keep playing for weeks and weeks and even months after the season starts. That said, I thought it was worth talking about this Diablo 3 moment for a second. Part of this as well is an additional option for how to play the game within this season, and there are definitely some people who are looking at this and thinking, hey, it's a little bit odd for them to add a whole new way to play Diablo 3 just for the winding down end period of the game, the final season. So what if this is actually just like a test run for the same idea being brought to Diablo 4? And that idea is called solo self-found mode. This is, in the most literal sense possible, a single player version of Diablo 3. When creating a character in this way, you can choose to do it in solo self-found mode, and in this mode you literally cannot interact with other players, they don't exist in your game at all. You only have yourself to rely on, and it has separate leaderboards and everything in the actual Greater Rift counters. That said, the concept of this coming to Diablo 4 at some point in the distant future is quite interesting to me. I mean, it would be really fun to actually just forcibly be able to test myself 1 versus 1 against a world boss, so I can definitely see it being enjoyable, but ideally this would also create an ability to play offline properly if it did eventually come, so that you don't have to always be connected to the servers, and I do see that being a bit of a long shot, honestly, so we'll find out, I suppose. This could come to Diablo 4, but it could take a very long time to do so. And that's pretty much everything that's been going on the last couple of days then, everyone. The hotfix that brought genuinely nice changes to the ways that we can receive wrathful Malignant hearts and invokers, another hotfix that came in and just changed a minor thing as well, the patch notes for 1.1.2 hitting next week, which includes changing the spawn timers of Malignant monsters, and all in all, it feels like they are just trying to make farming for Malignant hearts feel more rewarding in its more natural settings, rather than these weird obscure farms that we create as players, and more just the actual intended way of doing it, which is killing elites, killing Malignant elites, using invokers, and then crafting the boxes of the crafting table with the salvaged materials from the hearts that you don't want to use. Then we just had a number of funny exchanges with players who have demerit marks on their accounts upset about the race to level 100 hardcore, and then of course the influx of legendaries and uniques that people have been noticing, and then also just a little chat about Season 29 hitting Diablo 3, and what its biggest change could actually mean for the future of Diablo 4 itself. I hope you've enjoyed this breakdown of the news that we've had over the last few days. Let me know your thoughts on all these topics down below, and if you think there's anything else worth talking about, of course. And, well, I'll probably be back in the next couple of days with even more things have been going down, because this game just does not sleep. There is always something happening in Diablo 4, whether it's with the game itself, the community, future updates that we know are coming, that we get more information on. It just doesn't stop, does it? Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.